Good morning, my friends. Merry Christmas to everybody once again. I hope you were able to join us live last night for the Christmas program. We had fun. We make a lot of mistakes, but hey, that's part of the fun. It's not a Hollywood. We just have a good time, and that was the first time we'd all been together in quite a long time. We played a show, I think, back in August, and that was the only show we've played this year, at least in the last 8 or 9 months anyway. And anyway, so we were kind of rusty and couldn't really practice the Christmas songs because we were so rusty and there were so many people. It was just a nightmare trying to get it all ready, and lucky it turned out as well as it did. And then, of course, the internet and my slow computer here, I think, is part of the problem too. I'm going to see about getting more memory for the computer so the voice and the microphone and all, the microphone and the camera sync up better. I kind of think the memory in the computer might be to blame for some of that. But anyway, so if my voice doesn't match, my mouth moving, I'm sorry this morning. It just is what it is. Plus, I'm still running on a cell phone until I get a better internet solution, and I'm working on that. So we may get one before too long. First thing we're going to cover this morning is some viewer gifts. I've got a little video for that. Then we have a video where Natalie Sterling plays the quilted mandolin for you. She plays a couple of tunes on it. I think you'll enjoy that. And then the only other topic that I plan to actually cover this morning is truss rods and truss rod adjustments, because I know just from talking to lots and lots and lots of people that there are lots of people still confused about truss rods. Some of you have heard me say it over and over and already have gotten the message, but some of you I don't think have gotten the message yet. So I want to be sure to talk about my view on truss rods and how they are to be used. And it's not just my view. Really, Martin, Taylor, Gibson, all of them say the same thing. But so many people have a misunderstanding about that. So we're going to go through that. But the first thing we're going to cover is the gifts, and here's a short video clip for that.
My friends, you may recall that in the last shop talk, I mentioned all that deer antler that Lisa Kuhn gave me. She's a mandolin customer. Well, she also gave me this big box of shop towels, and thank you so much for that, Lisa. You know how much I need these, and so she just brought these as an additional Christmas present, and I failed to mention them in the last shop talk, and I felt bad when I saw them sitting on the floor here. I think I just was too tall and overlooked them. So thank you so much, Lisa. I appreciate it. My friends, I just keep getting wonderful gifts from my viewers, and I thank you so much for that. Alistair Richardson, Alistair from Oshawa, Ontario, Canada. So Alistair, thank you so much. What is this you say? Well, just don't bend over around it. It's one of those bulbs, kind of like for blood pressure deal, and it squirts air out through here, but this one has a suction cup on it. So my guess is, there was no instructions or any letter or anything, but my guess is that you put glue in a crack, you put this over it, and you can use this to force the glue down in the crack. That's my guess. Or with the suction part of it, perhaps you could, it does seem to suck a little bit, but not much. I think the suction comes through here. So you really only blows, it seems like. Yeah. So anyway, it looks like that would be how I would use it. And so we'll give that a try down the road. Thank you so much, Alistair. I appreciate it very much. My friends, once again, John Manura, another friend from AccuSlice, has sent me a bunch of purfling that he made. Stuff is awesome. It's just real fine, like brown, white, brown, red, white, red, that kind of stuff out of different kinds of woods. He used, looks like he used bloodwood, yellow, heart, walnut, maple, all kinds of padauk, just all kinds of wood. And John makes videos on his channel, so be sure to check out AccuSlice on YouTube.
Yes, AccuSlice is a cool product. You'll see in upcoming videos, we've already filmed a number of segments using the AccuSlice on the bandsaw. It's an attachment, if you will, to the bandsaw. And what it amounts to is it's basically a moving fence. In other words, you attach your work to the fence and you slide the fence through the saw. So it's pretty cool. I had my doubts. I really did, of whether it was worth all the trouble of attaching fence and running it through there, etc. and so forth. Because it seems like a kind of a hassle, to be perfectly honest with you. And I thought, well, I can cut it nice with the fence, you know. So I slid some things through the fence and I measured it carefully. It was off by 10, 20 thousandths of an inch, all down at 10 to 20 thousandths. That's a lot. I was surprised it was off that much. I checked the same kinds of wood slices, AccuSlice, sliding them through the blade, and I'm not exaggerating, 1 to 2 thousandths, sometimes 3 thousandths of an inch off. It's like nothing. That's less than a human hair. I mean, it's like half of a human hair or less than that. I mean, it's amazing how accurate that thing. Now, it's an expensive machine, but if you get a chance, check out AccuSlice. If you do a lot of very fine detail work, it's worth the money. Anyway, AccuSlice is ACCU-SLICE. And if you want more information, email John at info@accuslice.com. So that Accu is ACCU-SLICE.com. Okay. So anyway, you'll be seeing some more of that down the road. But really, I'm good that machine works. It absolutely, I was a skeptic, I got to be honest. The next thing we're going to cover is Natalie Sterling. She was just a little 10-year-old girl. You'll hear a little bit of a story on that, and then I'll give you the rest of the story out clip. Take a look at this. You'll enjoy it.
Hello, my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works Workshop. You are in for quite a treat today. We have a family musicians here. The Sterlings, that's Alan back there. He plays the dobro and all kinds of things. Unfortunately, he's on child duty this morning. Natalie is his wife with their 3 chillins are here. And one of them is being bashful. He won't get on camera, so he's kind of off in the side over here. But the way I remember it, Natalie was about 10, 11 years old, something like that. 10 years old, maybe? Can't remember. You were watching the jam, and I walked over to you and I said, here, play this. And her eyes got this big around, I swear to you. She, okay, okay. And she sat down next to me in the jam session, and we had a big circle there, and she sat right next to me, chords on the mandolin, and she picked it up just like that. Well, now she can show me all kinds of stuff on the mandolin. So rather than that, I'm going to have her, so she's going to play a couple tunes on this brand new mandolin that I just finished day before yesterday, and see what happens here. So, Natalie, I'll turn it over. Well, I'll tell you one thing. If I was going to play that tune, play it. Very good job. Very good job. Have you got another one for him?
Oh, I guess so. Haven't really thought of it, but let me think here. Guess we could do some East Tennessee blues.
Oh, yeah. Wow, very good. That Sierra Hull just eat your heart out. That's all. Very good job.
Thank you.
And by the way, that first tune was what?
Whiskey Before Breakfast.
Whiskey Before Breakfast just went off. I bet your son's out there having fun with the light switch. That's probably what that was. Well, that's really cool, Natalie. I'm so proud that you were here in time to play that mandolin before I have to send it off.
Yeah, it's an excellent mandolin.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that, folks, and Natalie and her husband and maybe some more folks in here one of these days and have a big jam and film that. That would be a lot of fun. Thank you so much for watching.
Natalie's oldest son, I believe his name, if I remember correctly, with my old-timer's disease, I think it was Asher. Asher was really cute. He was the oldest, and I have never had a young person ask more questions about more machines. It was just rapid fire, boy. I mean, just, what is this, and how does that work? You know, and I thought, boy, that boy's got a mechanical mind. I spend some time with him as he gets a little older and teach him about this shop. And so he was the one that was out there fiddling with the light switch. But the rest of the story on Natalie is that she was about 10 years old, and her brother, I think, was 11 years old, and they were not quite a full year of age. Some folks, I think, refer to that as Irish twins. But anyway, they were... Her brother was really far already and was getting better quickly. And so I put both of them on stage a time or two, and we used to go to jams together. And then a little bit later on, they started, they were so good, they were opening for most of the acts that came into Wildwood Springs Lodge, and they brought in lots of national acts. And so those two there, and I think their mother and father got on stage with them too and helped them a little bit. But they were very good and put on a real nice show. And I see a donation or two coming in here. Thank you very much for that. I really do appreciate it. So I hope everybody's far. I've only got a couple of more things. Well, actually, I've only got one more topic that I was going to discuss. Then we'll go to questions. And I've seen some here already. And we'll try to cover those here in a minute. But the topic I'm going to discuss is truss rods. And, this will probably be a little bit of a rant. Some of you tell me you like my rants. But anyway, I get passionate about things. That's why I can't help but get that way, because I feel so strongly about some of these things. And some of them are so so abused. I have actually said on camera, I think, a couple of times that I wish instruments didn't even have truss rods, because people and do it wrong. At least the ones I see, I would say they're wrong about 70% of the time. There's some folks that don't bother them at all, and those are fine typically. But some folks mess with them, and they think they're going to action with a truss rod, and the truss rod is not there to adjust action. Let me say that one more time. Do not use your truss rod to adjust your action. Okay? I can't say it any more clearer than that. Now, having said that, I will tell you that your truss rod can affect your action. That's a different thing than it is used to adjust it. We'll talk about all of that here as we explain truss rods in general. First of all, let me count as many types of truss rods as there are people's imaginations. Martin, for instance, for many used non-adjustable truss rods. They were basically just a square tube that went right down the center of the neck, a square metal tube, and you couldn't adjust it. More power to them, because that way you can't use it to adjust your action, and some people then wrote that off as to say you can't set the action up right on a Martin. Well, that's not true at all, because that's not how you set the action. The other kind of truss rod that's real common is just basically just a wire or a rod, a quarter, smaller than a quarter-inch metal rod, and I'm using this as an exaggeration. In other words, it's anchored at the heel, it goes down and comes back up at the peg head. Now, why does it do that? Why does it have that curve? That's because when you tighten it, what it does is it straightens the neck. It doesn't change the angle of the neck, you understand. It doesn't do that. All it does is just... So that's a very important understanding of a truss rod. And, you know, I'd be wrong. There may be somebody that's invented some kind of truss rod that doesn't do that, but basically all adjustable truss rods, for the most part, that's what they do. They go like that. Now there is one more exception, and this is a truss rod that I screwed up more than any truss rod in history, and that is the two-way adjustable truss rod. People, for some reason, get the righty-tighty, lefty-loosey thing. When you go righty-tighty, you're doing that. You're taking that underbow out of your neck. When you go righty-tighty with the two-way truss rod. When you go loosey, it doesn't actually get loose on those kinds of truss rods, which is what fools most people. And it goes this way. It puts a hump or an overbow in your neck. That's what the two-way truss rod is for. One way does this, the other that. And so the point is, the reason I say that one's abused the most is because I can't even tell you how many just this year where that was adjusted the wrong way and it actually put an overbow in the neck. And it was, some of them were really, really tight. And that's going left, if you understand. Lefty-loosey would normally be the case. But in a two-way truss rod, it doesn't get loose, it gets tight, and that's what fools everybody. So, and then when you get to the center, when you get right to the dead center, it's a little bit loosey-goosey, and then you start going right, and then it starts drawing that underbow out. So anyway, those two-way adjustable truss rods are the ones that are most often screwed up. I see that all the time. But anyway, all right, so we've talked about non-adjustable, we've talked about the standard that just pulls it out, and then we've talked about the two-way that does both things. All right, so that's pretty much the gamut on your truss rods. Some of them are adjusted at the at the peg head, and then some are adjusted through the sound hole. And yet, on some electric guitars and other kinds of instruments, you might actually find that you go through the heel of the neck or some other way to adjust it. But anyway, there's just different kinds of truss rods. Okay, so if you don't use it to adjust your action, how does it affect your action? Well, on an extreme case where you really have a lot of underbow, by pulling that down, you're pulling the peg head down, see? And now it will make your strings a little bit lower. But it did not, and it will not ever change your neck angle. Not at all. And in most cases where you're not talking extremes, and that is 90% of the cases, you're not talking extremes. And I might even say 97% of the cases you're not talking extremes. Just tightening the truss rod, all it's doing is it's just barely making any difference at all. So you're not really affecting your action much at all with a truss rod. So how do you adjust your action? Well, you've seen it in countless videos of mine, and that is that you file your nut and you change the height of your saddle. And your saddle is, for the most part, is your biggest adjusting area. Of course, at your first fret, you want your action as low as you can get it pretty much without it buzzing on that first fret or the second fret or the third fret, whatever. And at the saddle or at the bridge, the saddle that goes inside the bridge, you want that as low as you can get it to the point of playability. But on the other hand, the rule of thumb is, and this is just my rule of thumb, I made it up, is you want that saddle to stay as high as you can keep it so that it puts more pressure down on your top and it gives you more clarity, more volume, etc. So in other words, it's kind of a happy medium. You don't want to get your saddle so doggone low that and your action's so doggone low that you're not getting any volume or sound out of your guitar. Now, some people play incredibly soft and really want a very low action, and that's fine. I mean, everybody has their own style, and I'm not here to judge one way or the other on that. I'm just talking in rules of thumb. If you really want your best sound out of your instrument, then leave your saddle as high as you can play the instrument well. In other words, if you're playing it well at 100 thousandths, then why take it down to 70 thousandths? If you can leave it at 100 and you're real comfortable playing it there, then fine, leave it there. Now, granted, I think 100's a little bit high, so that's probably a bad example. But at the 12th fret on the treble side, I say around 80 thousandths to 90 thousandths is real nice. On the bass side, I say about 90 thousandths, 95 thousandths is real nice. You can go 20 thousandths lower, and a little bit higher, and you'll be fine at the 12th fret. And that goes, and somebody asked a question about the 12 strings. Basically, all of this information applies to a 12 string also. The difference on a 12 string is, you really should be using extra light strings. You really probably might even want to tune it down a half a step or a full step and use a capo. Because over time, 12 strings pulling on a neck generally affects something. So, I mean, it doesn't always. If the guitar's built really, really well, then you're probably fine. But in general, I would say most of the 12 strings that I see, they generally have some kind of a problem with the top. So, again, with the 12 strings, you want the same basic rules apply. You want to get it as low at the first fret as you can get it where it doesn't buzz, but you want to, leave it as high as you can play it well, comfortably at your 12th fret. So everybody's different on that. And again, I'm not here to judge who should play it at what height or anything like that. But if you're a hard player, then you're also going to want to leave it a little bit higher because there is a lot of vibration in those strings at the 12th fret. And they will hit because of that amount of vibration. And if you had a slow-mo camera where you could really see that, you would understand that really well. Okay, that's, I think, my rant. I hope I covered that well enough. But truly, the truss rod is completely misunderstood by so many, many, many people. And if you have a double action truss rod, trust me, righty-tighty, in other words, turning it clockwise, tightens it and pulls the underbow out. And we're talking about from the end of the truss rod. So when you're turning it, tightening it clockwise. When you want to loosen it, which is actually forcing overbow, you go to the counterclockwise or anti-clockwise for my millimeter friends out there. I don't know why millimeters and anti go together, but they do. Anyway, just being silly. Okay, let's go and see if we can find some more questions here. I did see a couple more questions. Somebody asked about the body points I saw while Natalie was playing there, what the body points are for on a F-style mandolin, and it is just pure looks. There's no real purpose. It's just a style, and the F. Some people don't know what the F stands for, and they think it's the F holes, and it has nothing to do with the F holes. It stands for Florentine, and it's that scroll shape and that body. And I think Orville Gibson started that Florentine shape years and years ago. Lloyd Loar perpetuated it with the F-style mandolin as well. More contributions coming in, so thank you very, very, very kindly. I really appreciate that. And Mike, thank you for being you as well. I really do appreciate the contributions. They're very helpful. Let's see, what other questions have we got there? When will part 5 of the custom mandolin come out? It's coming out very soon, as in probably tomorrow morning. I could release it sooner, but to be honest, I was kind of wanting to release it to have something for over the Christmas holidays. So I'll probably release it Christmas Eve morning or Christmas morning. I don't know. Do you guys have any feel for that? Which you would prefer? Probably the sooner the better, huh? I see a comment on that. I might just go with it. You never know. Let's see. But I do think you'll also like the of that mandolin. I think it's done well. Melissa's just doing a great job with the videos. Melissa's not in yet this morning, I don't think. Jen and I didn't see her, but I don't think she's here yet. Someone asked about why not having Melissa sing another song while we're waiting this morning, but then yet. Okay, what other questions have we got? Okay. I don't actually see any other questions. We might make this an abbreviated shop talk. 156 viewers at the moment. And I don't see any more questions coming in, so I'm just making an abbreviated shop talk this morning. I'm going to play you one more little Christmas tune. This is one that we work in last night. We just didn't have time. It wasn't so much that we didn't have time, to be perfectly honest with you. It's a chordy song, and we just, with that many people, we just couldn't get it all in our heads right. Here's a question that says, I've heard of having heavier headstock sustain. Is that true? Yes, I believe a heavier headstock and a heavier tailpiece do increase sustain. How is the wood pile going? Wood pile, and you're talking about my firewood pile, I guess. Well, we haul it in about every day. I've cut a ton of it out there, just let it lay on the ground. So, but I'll be honest, I think we've probably only got about 2 or 3 more trailer loads, and then I'm going to be out there cutting again. Sometimes I'll spend a half a day out there just cutting. I've got a big saw, and it just about wears me out doing it, I'll tell you that. But we never get enough firewood, that's for sure. All right, well, I'm gonna do this song. I'm gonna wish y'all a Merry Christmas, and then we're gonna have a short shop talk this morning. I think this song is so appropriate for this Christmas season, especially because so many people want to be together, and we may just have to only be together in our dreams. I'll be home for Christmas. You can count on me. Please have snow and mistletoe and presents under the tree. Christmas Eve will find me where the love light gleams, and I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my dreams. Christmas Eve will find me where the love light gleams, and I'll be home for Christmas, if only in my dreams. if only in my dream. Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning. Thank you for all the support you've given me through the year, and I'm wishing everybody a much better new year. Thank you so much.